one of the biggest lessons of my life was to learn that what is meant for you, you can't escape it. You can't avoid it. So I want to speak about this idea that a lot of us may have faced in our lives, but we have tried to ignore. We've tried to follow the grain. We try to, I guess, ignore and say that no, that this is not realistic. Who am I to think that I'm this special enough to think that I have things that are meant for me and the things that I actually want to do in life are actually the right answer to all my questions. So basically, let me explain what I'm trying to say. Ever since I was young, I wanted to be successful. I was very ambitious. I had great ambitions in life, and I knew that I was very capable. I knew that I was very smart, and that if I put my thought and my mind into something, I will achieve it. And so going back to high school, I was thinking the way for me to be successful and to make my ambitions become true was to study hard, be an A grade student, and go have amazing grades so I can go to university, study in university, do my master's, and find an amazing high paying job that will mean that I become successful. It will mean that I will be making money. So with that thought in my mind, I said, okay, what's a high paying position? What's a high paying job that I could go for that actually I could be slightly interested in? And I was always a theoretical type of person. I sucked at maths, but I tried my best, but it was never my strong point. So I thought, okay, I took some tests, and back then it showed me law. And I liked the idea. I was like, okay, law sounds nice, sounds prestigious, sounds like you become a person that is well recognized in our society, and that, it has this title. Like when you say to people, oh, you're a lawyer, like they immediately associate you with being smart, with being ambitious, with being successful, with making money. So like my naive little self said, okay, let's go for that. Like that seems to have all the answers that I'm looking for as a person. And I went for that, and I studied hard. And because I didn't have to do anything yet that came to law, I was excited. I was excited for it because the reward for me would be that I will be able to study abroad. I will be able to leave my home country, and I will be able to live alone, study abroad, have my own life somewhere in a place that has more life than where I lived. I did that, I achieved that, and I was able to go to university. And there, well, I had all the freedom that I wanted. So when I started my degree, actually, when I went abroad in the UK, I was super excited with the fact that I was able to live alone, have my own place, have my friends, have a social life, and I was having such a great time that my degree was not a priority at all. It was just something that I did it as part of my social life, and I didn't give much attention to the fact that I wasn't really in love with it. I started to see some signs of some people like really being into the degree, like studying about it, learning about it in their free time, while for me it became a chore. It became a thing that I just had to do, and was part of us going to the library that we have to study and stuff like that. So I was like, the option of leaving that degree behind and studying something else was not in my head something like logically I could follow. I was like, no way. I'm having too much fun. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my best and finish this degree. And I was too naive to give much thought actually to it. Finishing that degree though, I mean, looking back to it now, it was very obvious that I didn't like it at all, that it wasn't for me, that I was just doing it to do it. And finishing it, I came back to my home country because it was COVID. And after finishing that, like, degree was summer, so I didn't really know what to do. So my option was like, okay, let me study. The next option career-wise was for me to pass the bar in my country and to take the exams. And in order to do that, you need to sign up in a law firm and do an internship there for a year. So at the end of that year, you can like take the exams and become a lawyer, a registered lawyer in the country that you're in. So I did that, and I had the opportunity to see in real life how the life of a lawyer would be. And I was very lucky in the place that I went. To work was full of friendly people. My boss was very, very nice. And the company, that the firm was dealing with quite interesting projects compared to if I went to a very old firm that they were dealing with boring stuff. But regardless, I didn't like it at all. Like, it was such a drag for me being there, feeling that I have to spend my whole day in an office. And especially during the winter where it became dark so early, I felt like I was spending from morning till night in a position that I didn't like at all, and I couldn't wait to come home. And I was super, super bored and understimulated. At the beginning, I tried, of course, like to get assimilated and stuff like that, but after a while, like, it became very apparent to me that this is not for me. So going through that, I realized, okay, like, this is not for me, Andriana. Like, my heart was telling me, you need to wake up and you need to realize that this is not for you. This is not what's meant for you to do in this life. And did I listen? Well, kind of. So the result was also kind of successful. What I did was to wait a whole year, take the bar exams, pass the bar exams. One day before that, I was like, before taking the bar exams while I was studying, I was crying and telling my mom, I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this at all. Like, I don't care even if I pass these exams, I will never use these exams in my life. But because I'm a person that commits. If I say I'm gonna do something, I don't wanna have the mark of failure in my honor. Like, I didn't wanna, like, when I say I'm gonna do something, I commit to it. So even though I still had some months left in my internship and I had still to take my exams, even though I was really thinking about it, I was like, just drop it. It's not for you. You're never gonna deal with this shit again in your life. Why bother? And even though my heart might have been right, my head was like, no, this doesn't make any sense. Why you will do that? And I didn't. I just stuck with it, I guess, and I decided to finish with it. I passed them all, of course. I finished my internship, and when I was in the point of deciding what I was gonna do, I knew already that I wanted to leave again my home country and to study something entirely different from what I was doing, because law was not for me. So I learned that lesson, that law is not for me, and it's something that I definitely not what I want to follow. But instead of sitting and learning and checking with myself, what is it that you actually want to do? I again did the mistake of thinking with my head, with my logic, what I need to do, what I have to do in that makes logical sense in my career by what society says, right? So what I did was to apply for masters in business. It was a master's in business economics and management that basically were meant for students that did a different undergraduate degree, so it gives you like a period where you catch up with basic like stuff like accounting, basic accounting and stuff like that, so you can go into the master's and have a master's in business economics. And I was like, oh, perfect, like I can actually learn something that is more interesting and can be more useful for me. And I was having in the back of my head, oh, I have one course of marketing, that's interesting. So I went and I had in my head I could go into marketing, and that seems slightly interesting than anything else. So I went into that degree with the intention of going into marketing. But of course I was doing myself not a favor, because I was going into a degree that had one course of marketing. Okay, that's it. So again, I followed my head. Again, I followed logic. And I was like, but listen, oh, you have a undergraduate in law, a master's in business. It seems very good on paper. It seems perfect on paper. So I did that. I signed up for it. And I can say that those 2 years doing my master's was one of the toughest academic-wise. I think the toughest academic-wise I had in my life. I was really uncertain if I was gonna make it. And it didn't have to do with my capabilities. It had to do with the structure of that master's degree, the university, and how much, again, it wasn't a priority for me because I didn't want it with my heart. So I did that at the end. I finished it. I did an internship in marketing, and that's how I started paving my way towards doing marketing. And I did all of that with so much struggle, of course, because when you're doing something that you're not meant, that your heart doesn't want, and it's not meant for you, you're gonna face resistance. Is it possible for you to achieve it? Yes, of course, but it's not gonna be smooth sailing for you. You're gonna face resistance, but you have to just keep pushing forward in order to make it. You can, of course, do whatever you want in life. The purpose of actually this video, by sharing my story, you can understand that you can do whatever the thing is that you want to do in life. You can achieve that if you put it in your head. But when it's not meant for you, it's gonna be hard. It's gonna be harder. And at the end of the day, it's not gonna be rewarding. You're not gonna feel fulfilled by it. You're not gonna feel like, yes, like going through the process is gonna be hell, and the result you're gonna get is also you feeling like hell. So to finish the story, I was looking, after finishing my master's degree, I was looking at the country that I went for a job, and I was looking for a job in marketing. I finally did, and it was mainly a marketing job, but I was hired because of my law degree and my legal and economics background. So it seemed perfect on paper. It was everything that I was looking for. A good starting salary, a good perks, giving you a car to drive and everything, a company car. Privileges. But these, at the end of the day, mean nothing when the path you are on doesn't satisfy you, doesn't make you happy. And all it does is just starting from a little, like the splinters, like having your fingers, and it starts as a small thing. But at the end of the day, after ignoring it for so many years, it started to feel like not a splinter. It felt like I had a whole cactus on my fingers, a whole cactus tree on my palm. So I couldn't ignore it anymore. Like you can keep pushing, but you're gonna keep being miserable because you are not doing what you're meant to do in this world. What I was meant to do was completely different to the path that I followed. The path that I followed was what society wanted me to follow, is what my logic and my head was telling me that this is what you need to do to make money. It was being chained and never listening to my heart. And as I said, like, you can make it following that path, but it will never be truly rewarding to the level that you could be when you follow your passion. And the thing that we look up to the most as people is people that manage to make their passion their job, and not only the fact that they get paid from it, but they make so much money from the fact that they're doing what they love. And that's why I say what's meant for you will never pass you. What's meant for you is for you specifically, and you're gonna keep facing it, no matter how much you try to ignore it, no matter how much you try to look away and say, no, this is too unrealistic. No, like, who is able to make money from just, doing what they love? This is not realistic. This is not how the world works. I have to suffer. I need to work hard. I need to just do what everybody else is doing. What makes me so special that I can do what I love and make money from it? But what I've learned is that this will never work. And it took me many years to learn this lesson. And I started uni when I was 17 and now I'm 25. So after 8 years of failing what I couldn't learn, after 8 years, I finally learned my lesson. And sometimes I think, like, why couldn't I just failed earlier so I could have started doing what I love earlier as well. But this is the thing about timing. You do it when you're ready. You do it when you become a version of yourself where you believe in yourself more, when you believe that following like your heart is always the right thing. And for me, this came earlier this year when I started a brand new job in marketing. Again, a lot of perks, but I went there for a week and I felt like I was suffocating. I couldn't imagine doing what I went through again and doing something that I barely like. And so I made the hard decision of resigning. It was one of the best choices I've made in my life. It was one of the biggest and hardest decisions. Like, I was feeling so unsettled until I made the decision, but I finally listened to my heart, finally listened to what my highest self was telling me to do for so many years now, and I was ignoring it because my logic was louder. And that's what you need to understand, that logic is always going to be louder than intuition. And this is what is going to confuse you to think that, oh, like, I should listen to my logic because it has more arguments, it has more like things to argue about, that they make sense. But your heart won't come to you with the receipts. It won't come to you with evidence. It won't come to you with backed up facts about why you should follow something. It's gonna come to you with just an intuition, with just, listen, follow me, trust me, and I promise you, you're not gonna regret it. When you start doing that in one aspect of your life, it becomes like a domino effect, and you can't accept that not having that in every area of your life. It just makes you live a more authentic and more true life for you, and living a fake life even for a split second makes you feel like the biggest fraud. So for me, I finally was able to heal some parts of myself, and I was able to listen to my heart more and listen to my heart when it comes to relationships. But when it came to career, it was a big problem for me. It was a big resistance for me to deal with, because I never could accept the fact that I could be working and doing what I love and get paid for it. So dealing with that doubt and with that belief was one of the biggest things that I had to fight. And of course, the decision doesn't come with certainty always. It comes with a lot of doubt. And I wasn't sure of what I was doing and if I was gonna regret it. But the biggest confirmation came after. The biggest confirmation came once I made that decision. It came with so much relief. Like, my body felt like a level of relaxation and peace that I haven't had felt in years. It came also in different forms of confirmation through books. So one of the books, the biggest books in general in life that I will recommend you to read is Reality Transurfing. It's a book that I've been trying to read for some years now. I was recommended to read that, I don't know since when. I think it was 2020, and I only managed to start reading it this October, I think. But it's a big book. It's like 700 pages, and I'm taking my time with it because the lessons that it shares, they're so life-altering, and it makes you see the world in a different way, and also confirms a lot of the woo-woo beliefs that I had. And it made me realize that a lot of times what I was doing, I was thinking that it was like too delulu, but I was actually like doing the right thing. I was thinking the right way. And so this book, Reality Transurfing, has different sections of the book speaking about following the path of your heart, how when you follow a path that is meant for you, and when you give yourself permission to have that, and you drop any importance on that goal, then you can have that. And this can be true for any goal. Like if you have a goal to do something that if that is not aligned even with your heart, you can achieve that. You can have it with different prerequisites, of course, that the book speaks about. But the easiest way to have something and to achieve success in what we mean, like well-being, financial well-being, abundance, and the well-being of yourself, is by following the timeline of your soul, which means following the path of your heart, of your soul. Basically, to do what your heart desires, to do what your soul came to do in this earth. And for me, for sure, wasn't being a lawyer, and for sure wasn't being in marketing. And it's something that it took me a while to accept, but reading this book gave me the biggest confirmation that I will never succeed doing something that my soul didn't choose to do when it came down on this earth. And that the only for me to find success and well-being and achieve my highest timeline is to do what my soul came to do. And when you decide and when you find what that thing is, everything will unfold with ease, because you're in the timeline where your soul, like you're in your highest timeline, you're in the timeline where that your soul chose to be in. So you're basically living your best life, so you don't face much resistance there. Maybe if you do face resistance, is because you chose a wrong door. Maybe you choose to, your goal is maybe what your soul craved, but you're facing resistance because of the way you're approaching it is not the right way. So it helps you redirect you, and it helps you to redirect you into going into the door. It redirects you to the door that has the most smooth sailing, and it's gonna easily take you to your result. And when I say easy, I don't mean like, oh, okay, from one day to the other, but you're gonna feel like a sense of ease and like, okay, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. And you get confirmation. First of all, you feel it, you feel this like sense of, okay, this is what I'm doing now, that's what I'm supposed to be doing. And yeah, I definitely recommend reading Reality Transurfing. It explains this clearer than I do. Maybe I can read you a part. The thing is that if the goal is genuinely yours and you are ready to give yourself permission to have, your true door will open just as suddenly as a foreign door closes. So yeah, this is what I wanted to say. I wanted this video to be a reminder that I wanted this to be a reminder. I wanted this to be your wake-up call, whatever stage of life you are. Maybe you've never heard of this concept before, or maybe you had, but you have ignored it. Wherever you are with this, I just wanted to remind you that following a goal, following a path that isn't meant for you and your soul will never feel good, will never feel easy, and will never feel rewarding. So you're gonna keep pushing and facing resistance in that path, and it will never feel rewarding. It will never feel like right. And you will know what I speak about, because once you decide to drop this concept of fighting and facing resistance, and when you accept to do the things that brings you happiness, you're gonna understand this sense of feeling of, yeah, I'm at the right place, I'm doing the right thing. And no matter how hard you try to ignore it, it will never work, because what is meant for you is specifically meant for you. And there are 8 billion people on this planet, and 8 billion people have 8 different billion purposes. And the purpose that you were giving is very specific and it's very tailored for you based on your experiences that you were given in life and all the lessons that you have accumulated. And you're here to live that purpose and work that purpose. So I'm here to remind you that you are important enough to have a purpose. You are important and valuable enough to be worthy to have a purpose and to go after the goals that were God given to you and not what society decided to give you the tag of. So I know that it seems like, Andriana, this is so unrealistic. Like, how could anyone do it? I have this responsibility and this responsibility, but you also have a responsibility to your heart and to your soul. And when you're 80 years old, when you're 90 years old, and you want to look back at this life and say, you know what, I did what my heart wanted. And you will never know how successful you could have been if you just have listened to your heart once. And you probably already have been ignoring your heart until now. And how far did it take you? Tell me, how happy are you with the results that your mind gave? How happy are you with the results that your logic and your mind gave you? Maybe you don't have money and you're not happy, or maybe even worse, you have money and you have achieved the goals that you tried to achieve, but you're not happy. And that's the worst place you could be, because you were promising yourself that once I have this, once I have the money, once I have the success, I will be happy, but you're not. And this is the biggest testament that this doesn't work. This is the biggest testament that what you're following is not your path, and this is not what you're meant to be doing in this life. And you're not gonna stop facing this resistance, and you're not gonna stop facing this problem until you listen to your heart and until you realize that what is meant for you is meant only for you and no one else. And it's your duty to follow it, and it's your duty to listen to your heart and let it take you where it's supposed to take you in this life. And yeah, that's it. It's gonna keep, I'm just warning you, like, if you ignore me, if you ignore this, it's gonna keep being sent to you in different forms of reminders, in different forms of lessons. You're gonna keep facing the resistance, and you're gonna keep being reminded of this lesson that I was facing for 8 years and I kept ignoring, until one day you have to listen to it. So my advice is to do it sooner than later, because I wish I was able to do it sooner than later, because I would have been so much more ahead than I am now. And I feel like already as a 25-year-old, I got out of it faster than most people did. So do yourself a favor and listen to your heart, because I promise you, you're not gonna regret it, and I promise you, the results are gonna be nothing of what you expect it to be. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for being here. I hope this video helped you, and I hope this served as your reminder and your wake-up call. I believe in you, and I know you got this. And if you need any help, just ask. I'm here. It gives me one of the biggest joys in life to give advice and to see people like taking that advice and making wonders with their life. So yeah, that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening. I'll see you soon.